I've got another question for you. What is a black job?
You'd have to ask Donald Trump. You'll have to ask Donald Trump.
I have to ask. Well, Donald Trump's not on the witness stand. So
well, I'm here to talk about hate crime, which I hope you want to talk about as well.
If the gentleman will yield, I can clarify that.
No, I'd like to hear from the witness.
Brandon Gill didn't just question Maya Wiley. He cornered her with her own words. And what happened next left the entire Democrat narrative hanging by a thread. This is exactly why congressional hearings matter. Brandon Gill walked in prepared, and instead of letting Maya Wiley hide behind polished talking points, he forced her to answer for her own past. Gill started with the issue of defunding the police.
Ms. Wiley, I have a couple questions for you. Do you still believe in defunding the police?
I believe in public safety, and that means driving dollars to where we're most likely to prevent crimes from happening and ensure that we have responsive law enforcement that doesn't violate people's rights and it prevents crime.
Does that mean driving dollars away from law enforcement?
It means making sure we're driving dollars to the things that support public safety, and that's a variety of things.
So possibly away from law enforcement.
Well, I think we have law enforcement. We have talked about the need for law enforcement, particularly when we're fighting hate and bias crimes, which have more than doubled in this country since 2015.
Law enforcement is very important. During your mayoral race a few years ago, you said, quote, "I'm going to take $1 billion from New York City Police Department." Do you still think that's a good idea?
Well, I'm here to talk about hate crimes, not my run for city. I stand by my run for mayor, and I appreciate the opportunity to try to drive dollars to public safety. You also stated you
have to cut the police budget and change what we mean by policing. Do you still stand by that statement as well?
I stand by the need to invest in community safety, to ensure that we have a vibrant civil rights community that is able to participate in keeping our community safe from hate and bias.
Investing in community safety by defunding the police.
I am here to say that I'm really grateful we have the Southern Poverty Law Center because it is doing work, including with law enforcement,
you think defunding the police makes our community
hate and bias
crimes. I've got another question for you. What is a black job?
You'd have to ask Donald Trump.
I'm not sure what that means. I'm referring to a statement that you made a year ago on your LinkedIn. "I was so honored and proud to be a New York State delegate for our next president, with Vice President Kamala Harris ascending to her black job."
Donald Trump made a comment that was very stereotypical about black people, and it was a joke about his stereotypical statement about black people.
What is a black job?
You'll have to ask Donald Trump.
I have to ask. Well, Donald Trump's not on the witness stand. So
well, I'm here to talk about hate crime, which I hope you want to talk about as well.
If the gentleman will yield, I can clarify that.
No, I'd like to hear from the witness, but I appreciate it. Could Hillary Clinton have filled that black job? What you call a black job?
You'd have to ask Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Dr. Swain, got a couple questions for you. And thank you again for being here. In your book, The New White Nationalism, which is excellent, you wrote that in 2002 there were approximately 2,000 KKK members in the entire nation. Sounds like you believe a large portion of them were paid informants. Do you think that the SPLC was involved back in 2002? If you can turn the mic on, please.
There was a scholar named Larry Wilcox that I referenced, and he did research, and he was very critical of the Southern Poverty Law Center, and he said at one point that there were more paid informants than actually KKK members. And I would concede that the Southern Poverty Law Center was very successful as far as bankrupting the neo-Nazis and the KKK. So I would concede that, but I will also argue that as early as 2009, when I wrote the article that triggered the Southern Poverty Law Center, at that time the new Black Panther Party was patrolling the polls, I think in Philadelphia, and they were intimidating white people, and they had sticks in their hands, and the Southern Poverty Law Center had not labeled them as a hate group. And so in the blog, where I ended with, instead of monitoring hate groups, the Southern Poverty Law Center has become one, instead of labeling or listing the new Black Panther Party, what they did, they went after Lou Dobbs, and they went after the Center for Immigration Studies and anyone who questioned liberal immigration policies.
Mm-hmm. And we've got about 15, 20 seconds left. Can you just, to sort of close us out, what are the dangers of paying for these informants and extremist groups like the KKK?
You get biased information if you're paying people for information. And one of the dangers for our society is that the Southern Poverty Law Center has pretty much become an arm of the Democratic Party. They are very partisan. They should not have that 501c3 status if they're going to take a side in, if they're going to be biased in how they monitor groups and how they destroy individuals like me.
Thank you, Dr.
Instead of giving a direct answer, Wiley repeatedly pivoted to phrases like community safety and refused to clearly say whether she still supported cutting police funding. Gill wouldn't let her escape, reminding everyone of her previous statements about taking billions away from the NYPD. Then came the moment that completely changed the hearing. Gill brought up Wiley's own LinkedIn post celebrating Kamala Harris ascending to what she called a black job. He asked one simple question: what is a black job? Instead of defining the phrase she personally used, Wiley repeatedly answered, "You'll have to ask Donald Trump." Gill immediately fired back. Donald Trump isn't on the witness stand. That exchange exposed exactly what Gill wanted to highlight, a refusal to answer a straightforward question about her own words. The hearing wasn't over. Dr. Carol Swain then testified, criticizing the Southern Poverty Law Center and arguing that it has become politically biased, accusing it of unfairly targeting conservative organizations while failing to apply the same standards across the board. Whether you agree or disagree with every claim, Republicans left that hearing believing they had exposed major inconsistencies in the Democrats' messaging, while Democrats struggled to regain control of the exchange. One thing is certain: Brandon Gill came looking for answers, and he refused to let carefully rehearsed talking points end the conversation. This is where it gets crazy.